Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li is the third attempt at adapting Capcom's flagship fighting series into a movie, and the second attempt at doing it as a live-action American film. The first attempt was an anime that was uneven and had way too many characters and too little development, but was highly entertaining and a fun ride for what it was worth. The second attempt was a campy action movie that is bad on nearly every level, but at least it was fun and had some good performances from Raul Julia. This third attempt takes things very seriously. Gone is the over-the-top anime presentation, gone is the campiness, and gone is the attempts at shoehorning dozens of characters from the games into the movie. The Legend of Chun-Li focuses on a smaller cast of characters and a central plot around its titular character. You've got Michael Clarke Duncan as Balrog also, and that's just fucking awesome because Michael Clarke Duncan rules. One weird thing that you have to notice right away, though, is the actress who plays Chun-Li, Kristen Cruick, is not Chinese or even Asian at all, but is pretty damn white. Hell, she's from Canada, one of the whitest places on Earth. So okay, in most cases I can accept using a non-Asian actress for a role that's traditionally Asian. I don't get too uppity about adaptations changing the race of a character. I mean, if you remember my review of the movie Daredevil from last year's February feature, I said that I had a lot of issues with the film, but changing the main villain from a white guy to a black guy was not one of them. Then again, that was once again Michael Clarke Duncan. Weird how that works out. But in this case, I have to say that making Chun-Li white is bullshit, because we're talking about someone with a very Chinese name who speaks fluent Chinese throughout the movie. Alright, so okay, maybe she was just raised by Asian parents, right? Well, in the beginning of the movie, Chun-Li is around 5 years old and... wait, she's Chinese. She's being played by a Chinese actress. Her dad is Chinese. What the hell? A bit later, it shows her at around 10 years old or so, and she looks like she might be half Asian, half white. And then as an adult, she's white. So did she just lose her Chinese genes over time? I chalk this off as a lone casting error, but it's not the only instance of this in the film. The main villain is Bison, who's played by a guy with blonde hair and blue eyes. Okay, this is fine. He looks different from the guy in the games, but it's not a huge deal. But later on in the film, they show Bison's origin, and they show him as a baby, where he's clearly Asian. But then as a young man, and later on as a middle-aged man, he's white. Are people in this movie born Asian, and then they just get whitewashed as they grow up? I'm sorry to focus so much on this one thing, but it really is an issue, because from the very start, because of this, I had a hard time taking the movie seriously. And the movie takes itself so very, very seriously. Another thing is Chun-Li's character in general. In the games, she's an Interpol agent. That's fine. That's actually pretty cool. It seems weird that an Interpol agent would go around kicking people in a Chinese dress, but that's video games for you. In the other live-action Street Fighter movie, they ridiculously made her into a TV reporter. Well, that was pretty freaking stupid, and even the games made fun of this. Since this movie is an attempt to do things right, you'd think they get it right. Right? Well, even though Interpol plays a huge role in the plot, they gave the Interpol agent role to Charlie Nash and made Chun-Li a pianist. As in, she plays the friggin' piano. Wow. Growing up, her dad taught her how to play the piano and also martial arts. Bison shows up and kidnaps her dad. Later on, Chun-Li is a successful concert pianist. And Bison's agents take pictures and video of her to bring to her dad and get him to continue working for them. Bison takes over a crime syndicate called... wait, really? It's called Shadow Lao? I know that Capcom has flip-flopped between calling it Shadow Lu and Shadow Law, but Shadow Lao? I never heard that one before. Anyway, Bison kills all of his rivals, and this brings on the investigations of Charlie Nash and some chick. Meanwhile, Chun-Li is being stalked by the Order of the Web, led by a dude named Gen, who wants to recruit Chun-Li for a battle against Bison. What really gets me is that Chun-Li has no reason to join the web. She basically gets a Chinese scroll delivered to her, and after some old lady translates it, she's told it's an invitation to meet Gen. She's to travel to Bangkok and leave her entire life behind, and basically is made to live as a homeless person in a slum for several weeks, while fruitlessly searching for Gen. She's not told that her father is alive in captivity, or that it has anything to do with Bison, or anything. All she's told is that it's an invitation from Gen and that he wants to talk to her. So she walks away from her successful life as a musician, her friends, her family, her sick mother who's in the hospital with cancer, just because Gen sends her a scroll. For this, she's rewarded with a harsh life on the streets of Bangkok. I could have understood the character being willing to give up her comfortable and successful life to go through basically a harsh training period as a homeless person if she had some motivation, such as, hey, your father's still alive and you can save him. But instead, it's all based on a vague feeling that she should do it, as told by awful narration that plagues the first half of the movie. The second half of the movie improves, as she finally meets Gen, who is played by Robin Shou, making him, interestingly, the only actor to be both in a Street Fighter movie and a Mortal Kombat movie. And he was in Dead or Alive, also. That guy really gets around. Gen teaches her more martial arts, including how to apparently throw a Hadouken, which is played straight with no sense of wonder or anything. It's just like, yo, check this out. Hadouken! Chun-Li winds up in conflict with Bison, and his henchmen Vega and Balrog winds up getting captured, and Bison kills her father, and before they can kill her, she escapes, and then teams up with Charlie Nash. They all attack Bison's compound and believe he is shipping a weapon called the White Rose. However, the White Rose actually turns out to be Bison's daughter, Rose, who before she was born, he put his soul into her somehow, which allows him to be totally evil without any sort of conscience. Rose arrives, and she seems eager to meet her dad and happy to be with him, but is equally happy to run off when Interpol comes to take her away. Rose is supposedly Bison's only weakness, but it isn't played well. It just seems that he was busy staring at her when Chun-Li kills him. There's some sequel hook at the end, but the movie was enough of a bomb to make sure that it never happens. The Legend of Chun-Li starts out awfully, and then it gets worse, and then it attempts to redeem itself at the end. But it's far too late to save it. It suffers from a shaky premise, a terrible execution, bad casting choices, inconsistency, some truly abysmal acting, especially from the guy playing Charlie Nash, and subplots that go nowhere. It seems no one can just make a martial arts movie out of Street Fighter. They always have to overthink it and give us scenes like Balrog firing a rocket launcher or Chun-Li narrating how awful it is to live on the streets of Bangkok. Honestly, I actually prefer the Van Damme movie. It was bad and terribly kitschy, but it was more fun than this, and at least it remained consistent throughout. Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li gets a 3 out of a possible 10.